Hi everyone. Good evening everyone. Am I audible? Hi Krishika. Hi Gaurav. Hi Harish. I'm good. Hi Shreya. Hi Pargat. Great guys. Great. Uh, we'll just wait for a couple of minutes, right? I'm good, Harish. Just it was just facing some technical issues, right? Was not able to connect. So that's why I'm a little unsure about the audio as well. So we're just having trouble connecting. So that's why it took like extra 5 minutes. I've been here, but some issue connecting today. Hi Mandeep, Namaste. Hi Krishika. Hi Anjali. Good evening everyone. Great guys. We'll just wait like another couple of minutes and then we get started. Just wait for the others to join in. I'll actually should I cover the psychology behind interviews today. This is gonna be super fun. We are going to go into directions which are going to be this is gonna take some funny turns today, right? So this session is about the psychology of interviews. So we'll head into any direction that you want me to go into. But there's one thing that I really need from you guys today. Like massively needed from you guys today. Without that, this session can't really go on. It's all dependent on you guys. What is it that I need of you? I need like a super intense, huge amount of energy from you guys. Like you've got to feed me the energy, right? And for the session, there are going to be a lot of questions, right? I have uh, I have a kind of a crazy setup going here. Like I'm so like literally put out chats on one screen. I got a vertical screen where chats are scrolling, right? So I'll keep looking at my left and keep going through the comments. But I like you guys to engage, throw content at me, throw questions at me. the greater the number of questions that you throw at me, the higher the probability we go deep down into the psychology of interviews and we figure out. You can actually, like, this is like a wonderful opportunity to get rid of your own doubts. So if you've got any doubts with respect to your own profile, things, I'll try my level best to answer as many questions as I can, because this is about you. This is not about me. So I'll try to do that, and that's what we'll try to do today. Just can you guys give me a quick confirmation? The audio is loud and clear, as loud as possible. Everything is sorted. The slides are visible. I'll just reduce it a little further, right, so that there's no hindrance during the class. So are we ready to get started with this? Great, thank you so much. Great, terrific. Chalo guys, let's get started then. It's 8:15. We should kickstart this session. Lots and lots to discuss. Lots of gyan coming your way. And just one of those days where you will have more gyan than the other regular days, right? कभी कभी तो तुम्हें like feel आती होगी यार कि ये जो verbal और GDPI वाले हैं ज्ञान ही पेलते रहते हैं आके, है ना? So थोड़ा सा ज्ञान आज और पेल दिया जाए, and so we'll go through a few things and we'll go through a few pointers, and I'll keep asking you things. So what I want you guys to do is have a pen and paper ready with you, right? Have a scratch pad ready with you, and side by side, like, keep noting down things, keep throwing, and be like super quick with your typing, and make sure you send me your answers, right? I'm going to ask you some very basic things, right? I'll ask you to do things, right? चलो ज्ञान शुरू करते हैं आज का in a way this should not actually be psychology of interviews. This should be like satsang of interviews, because this is like all one-way communication. So I get a feel like I'm almost presenting a satsang. So let's start the satsang for today. So how do we look at the psychological aspect of preparation for interviews? How do we look at where are we going wrong? What should the approach be? What should the first starting point be for your interview preparation? I'm like taking you through the absolute basics here, and I'm going to rip apart a few of the conceptions. So like these are these preconceived notions that we've got, right? So we've got lots and lots of preconceived notions. So why not? Let's rip them all apart, right? In fact, I'll actually do something else today as well, right? This is something I have never done before, and because remember, can I say this? And I want like real super quick answers for this. Can I say this, that one part of the interview process is actually putting yourself out there? You are putting yourself out there, right? What is it that you're selling, right? If the question was what is it that you're selling, can I say you're selling yourself in a way, certain way? We are not selling in the selling in the cheap sense of the word, right? That you're selling yourself, but selling as in you are giving out your USPs. So it's almost as if you are the product here, and you want the interviewer to purchase the pitch that you are selling to him, right? It's a pitch that you are presenting to him. That's what you're doing, and that is what we want to communicate, right? So we have to somehow convince him that this is our story, this is what he should believe in, this is what he should be convinced of, right? And if that story can come together, that is what we can do, right? So in the same way, right, what is it that I am doing right now? I am also doing something, right? We will play with because this is about psychology. This is not about interview prep, right? Presenting ourselves is the decent way of saying it, right? आज तो हम level गिराने वाले हैं. We will go down to like आज तो हम गिरने वाले हैं अपने डिस्क्रिप्शन में, राइट? आज we will rip apart the curtain of decency and say things that we want to say, right? That's what we'll do. Uh, Now, the point is, when you have to go and sell yourself, right? When you have to go and pitch yourself, when you have to go and present yourself, as HT says, who that's the dignified way of saying it. I was not quite saying it in the dignified way. When you go ahead and do that, right? The most important thing is, what is it that you require as a starting point for that? As a starting point for that, you require clarity, right? Clarity for what you are doing, right? So for example, I'll give you an example because I need to prove what I'm saying, right? So I need to carry conviction in what I am saying, in what I am doing. Why am I here, right? So there has to be conviction in that. And that conviction says to me, why am I here? I'm here to tell you guys that how does the psychology behind interview works, right? So I'm just writing a P because you guys know I am born with a broken hand, right? So by now, those of you who attended a couple of my sessions know how broken my hand is. So I will write in extreme shorthand, right? So when we are covering the psychology of interviews, what is it that we need to do, right? What is it that we need to cover? We need to figure out a lot of things about ourselves. Now, what is it that I am doing here today? Right? I am presenting a session to you, right? What is the psychology behind this particular session? There is a line of reasoning why I took it up, right? Why am I here? Why am I doing this? Honestly, tell me, guys, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Because then I'm going to do something that I've never done. So there is one part of me, as a person that I am, right? If there is one part of me which is something that I've never done in my whole life, I can like this would be the absolute first time I'm ever doing it, is that I've never given into the cravings of vanity, right? So I'm not really concerned about any such vanity measure that normally people hold themselves accountable to. So but today I'm going to give in for the benefit of you guys. I'm going to give in to the I'm going to give in to those vanity factors as well. What is it that I am doing, guys? Quick answers to this question. What is it that this session is about? What is it that I am doing? What is the deep underlying psychology behind this? And you can be like, you can say absolutely anything. You can rip the band-aid apart and you can be as brutal as you want to be. Because I'm asking you to be brutal, right? I'm asking you to be honest. I'm asking you to be upfront. Because unless and until you are that in this process, we don't get anywhere. The first aspect of interview and GDPI prep that you learn is there is brutal honesty that is required of you. There is brutal honesty. You have to be honest with yourself, right? You want to get to the best possible school. You want the best possible advice. Why am I here? I'm here for two reasons, right? Or two or three reasons actually. Absolutely right, Nikhil. That is exactly the answer that I wanted to hear. I am A, guiding you to clear the interview. B, my purpose for being here is, it's very, very clear. I'm going to sell you. I am at a certain point of time in this class going to pitch the iQUANTA GDPI course to you. That is something that I'm going to do. So there is absolute mental clarity in my head that this is what I'm going to do. So I am psychologically ready for that, right? And there is a third thing. अरे यार बंदी बोलना है, यही तो बोलना है. आज फिल्टर नहीं है. अगर आज फिल्टर रहा तो फायदा नहीं होगा मनदीप. आज तो फिल्टर हटा के बोलना है, राइट? सो absolutely, I'm selling yourself. I'm selling yourself as someone who can teach you, and I am selling as someone who can teach you these skills. I am doing all of this. I absolutely agree with, I think the two people who are closest to the actual answer, right, are Hirendra and Nikhil. Those were the ones who were two closest to the real answer. There is a third answer as well, right? Guys, there is a third answer, right? You should be brave enough to state it right to my face, right to my bald freaking face, right? You should be able to do that. And what is that third answer here? The third answer is I'm doing it for money also, right? That is something that I'm doing it, right? I'm getting paid for this. This is my job. So that is my intent and purpose here behind it. And why should I? Now the thing is, the moment we talk about money, there is a teaching moment that is going to follow this, right? There is a teaching moment that which is going to follow this moment. When I say this, I'm doing this for money. When I say I'm doing this for work, I'm doing this to earn my livelihood, and I'm doing this to guide you guys. There is a deeper aspect to here, it, right? This particular act. I'm absolutely clear in my mind that what is it that I'm doing, right? And I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of it to accept the fact that this is who I am and this is what I'm doing, right? So that is wow. That is what you want to do in an interview as well. You should not be ashamed of yourselves, right? At times we are ashamed of accepting the fact that we are doing it for money. At times we are ashamed of, we build these own preconceived notions of, like, यार in a way ना, मैं बहुत गंदा वाला एग्जांपल लेने वाला हूँ यहाँ पे, राइट? हम इन अ वे हम कोशिश करते हैं कि हम संस्कारी बहू बन जाए, राइट? कि हम वी बिकम दिस संस्कारी बहू, and we show that to the world that we are like really these good honest people, right? That is not what is required of you, right? You have to be honest, upfront, brutally clear in your mind that why is it that you are there, and that is the kind of brutal clarity that you have to build. I have brutal clarity. Why am I here, right? I am no holds barred, right? There is no filter, because if I attach a filter here today, then we go down a path which will be a dishonest path, right? Which is something that I don't like to do. So now my value system gets attached to who I am, right? So I don't mind saying all these things यार. क्या क्या फर्क पड़ता है बोल के? सच ही तो है, बोलना ही तो है ना? बोल दो, क्या हो जाएगा? I'm better off saying it than not saying it, right? And now, in a way, can I say this? I have psychologically disarmed you guys. This is what is going to have. In a way, yeah, Pushkar's formal way of selling lies would be uh, that's actually a really interesting comment, and I want to take that up because agar if this was the formal way of selling lies, right, then there would be no end result at the end of this process, right? So at the end of this process, what I'm guiding you towards is I'm guiding you towards a process where you can be more self-aware and you can crack your interviews. And at the end of the day, when you crack your interviews, you get something out of it. That is you, the person who gets something out of it, not me, right? So there is nothing that I get out of it other than the what I make for the session, right? So then I'm not sure that I'm selling a lie as such. So right now I'm being true to myself, right, without any filters. It takes a lot of courage to do that. So I'm exhibiting no fear. I'm exposing myself, right? So these are the deeper psychological truths, right? So one way of disarming the interview is when you show such kind of self-awareness, right? Why did I go into this prologue of mine where I introduced this concept to you? When we show this kind of self-awareness, that is when we disarm the interviewer, right? We show him that we belong there, we have that mental clarity, we have the skills it takes to be there. That is what we're trying to do. That is our intent and purpose of being there, and that is what we're trying to do, right? So that is something that we'll do in this particular case. Now your starting point, right? Now, in this particular case, Khushi Jain has an interesting question. She's a May 2023 graduate. How to explain gap year? Did only prep, right? So, what is so wrong about it, Khushi? Own up to it, right? Mention it explicitly. So the thing is, this is the gap that you are seeing, right? At the end of the gap, what is it that you achieved? You achieved that call, right? So there was a purpose to your effort. So you did not waste that time. You did not squander that time. You used that time to build your scores, and you used those scores to land a call, and you've ended up at an interview. So that you've completed the thought, you've completed the loop, right? So why be apologetic about it? So when I say the gap is in my head, right? You are being apologetic about it. So but there is no gap. I used that time constructively. I built skills. I learned things. So that is how you sell it to the interviewer. So having that self-belief is very, very critical. So everything that you guys are going to throw at me, I'm going to convert it into something else. And that's why I said I need your energy, your thoughts, your ideas, because the greater the number of things you throw at me, the greater the number of answers that you guys get. And I am going to answer everything. Anshul, dig deeper. We will now. Absolutely great question. Anshul does not have any specific hobby. He wants to write. What is it that he has to write? The IMK form has that section where they're asking for your hobbies and interests, basically. So, what is it that you should do? Let's see what is it that you can do. Now, the first part of your prep is you can Shifali absolutely, but the thing is, what is it that absolutely? I am trying to say that, right? Subrajyoti, then you can say that you are doing it for a higher salary, but then you have to back it up with the fact that you deserve that higher salary, right? The next question to you is that do you really deserve this higher salary? Fair enough. It's fine to have any dream and aspiration in the world, but do you deserve it? Now you will be challenged whether you are a deserving candidate for that. It is not wrong to aspire for a higher salary. That's absolutely fine. But then you should be able to back it up and you should be able to prove that you deserve the same, right? ST is like, my God, you're like a brilliant person. You're what, like ST is what? What does it stand for? Hindustan Times? Something else? You're, you're like paraphrasing me in the best possible way. अभी तो मेरे 5 मिनट के ज्ञान को पूरा समराइज करके एक सक्सेंट लाइन में पेस्ट कर देता है. This is like a terrific thing, right? You should be there in all my live sessions. So now the first thing is how do you arrive at this super positive lens of yourself, right? So in a way, what I'm saying is that you should have a super positive way of looking at yourself. You should have a super positive way of the way you see this world, the way the world is, and so then you have this it's a worldview that you have, it's a worldview that you carry, which where you show that things are sorted for you in your mind, right? Now, how do I start with this? The first step is introspection, is looking into ourselves, right? A lot of us do this one very, very common thing where we, how many of you right now are, so I have like this question, right? You guys can choose to answer it or choose not to answer it. How many of you right now are trying to arrange certificates? You are making calls and you're trying to arrange certificates. When I say arrange certificates, that is certificates that you don't have, but you are asking a college senior, यार दोस्त कर देना, बना देना सर्टिफिकेट, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. ऐसी चीजें कौन कौन कर रहा है? कोई तो होगा यहाँ जो कर रहा है. मतलब तुम कोशिश कर रहे हो कि ऐड कर ले अपने अपने प्रोफाइल में जितनी चीजें डाल सकते हैं डाल दे, है ना? जितना सामान इकट्ठा कर सके उतना सामान इकट्ठा कर ले, दुनिया का भर ले. Great, Harsh. Great to know that. Now we have a name to the moniker HT. So I'll refer to you as Harsh going forward. So the point is when you are trying to arrange for certificates, right? So there is a there's this deeper underlying. Great, Shubhrajyoti, that is terrific. That is one brilliant answer, right? Having confidence in your own self, right? Volunteering in an NGO. So, अब हम अगर इसको भी एक्सटेंड दिस फॉरवर्ड, राइट? पॉइंट ये है कि यार पॉइंट ना पर्सपेक्टिव का लाइफ में, ठीक है? हमें लगता है, और ये सर्टिफिकेट्स वाली बात मैंने क्यों करी, हमें लगता है साइकोलॉजिकली वी हैव दिस इन आवर हेड्स दैट वी हैव नॉट डन इनफ, राइट? It's almost part of our upbringing. It's a part of the way. Uh, यार साइकोलॉजी ऑफ इंटरव्यूज एंड साइकोलॉजी ऑफ इंटरव्यू प्रेप हर्ष आज का टॉपिक है कि यार मतलब हमारी साइकोलॉजी क्या है, इंटरव्यूअर की साइकोलॉजी क्या है, हमारे दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है, उसके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है. ठीक है. तो हम तो सिर्फ साइकोलॉजी वाला एस्पेक्ट देख रहे हैं आज. कोशिश कर रहे हैं अपने अंदर झांकने की, कोशिश कर रहे हैं उसके अंदर झांकने की. सो अब I'll just take a quick 15-second or 20-second shout out here and a small break. Uh, I'm getting a lot of questions. There's a question by Akshay. There was one other question, which was a detailed question. So let me get through a series of 5 to 6 slides. Let me get through a basic gist of my information, right, that I have accumulated for you guys and that I have composed for you guys and what I wish to share with you guys. So let me get through that and then I'll take up your individual questions. Would that be fair enough? Because then that will mean that at least I'll be able to run through a few of the slides. I am beginning to get a gut feeling because I did create a lot of slides for today. I have a gut feeling that we are not going to end all because there's just like far too much content, right? So we'll go through a lot of things. I'll ask you a lot of things. And for example, Akshaya's question is very relevant. There were another couple of questions which were there at the top of the chat, right? So I will address each one of those. I'll do my absolute level best to address each one of those, and I'll go through those questions. But before I do that, right? So I'd like to get through a few of the slides. Fair enough, guys? So that's something that I'll do. I will answer your questions, Akshay, and there were a couple of other long questions which were there. So Saurav's question was there as well, right? So I'll pick up those questions. Saurav, Akshay, you'll have to come. I'll open a Q&A session, right? I'll dedicate a certain amount of time at the end of it. This might be a session which might go a little long, right? So you'll have to wait for that, but I'll try to answer you to the best of my ability. That's something that I'll do. I'll honestly try to do that, right? Jenny says enough, sir. Jenny is tired of me, right? Jenny Kelvin. Rajat, I will take questions, but I'll take questions at the end. Because I have a few very, very important points that I want to communicate to you guys. Once I'm done with communicating those, I'll get down to the questions. And I will take all comments today, right? Because otherwise, because if I don't take comments today, that defeats the purpose of this session. So I'll take the part of doing this is the part of doing this being in this line of work is that the brick paths are for free. Sanket, it's never good to be. There is just a certain degree of emotion and storytelling that should be there in your forms, but nothing more than that. There is a certain acceptable level, nothing beyond that. Logical, rational, objective. That is what you should be as a candidate. Rational, objective, clear in your head. This is what I want to do. This is who I am. This is it. That's the best way of doing it, right? So let's get back to the slide, right? So we were talking about arranging of certificates. Now, the point is when you start doing all these activities and you start collecting these certificates, right? We start collecting content about ourselves. We start creating an image for ourselves, which might not necessarily be true. प्रॉब्लम क्या है यार, मतलब वो ना ये वो वाला है फंडा, मेरे को याद आता है कि प्रॉब्लली सर्दियाँ चल रही हैं तो इसलिए दिमाग में आ रहा है, स्वेटर का एक धागा नहीं उधड़ता है ना, वो स्वेटर का एक धागा उधड़ता है ना, वो पूरा स्वेटर उधड़ जाता है, वो एक धागा खींचने की देर है, ठीक है? तो जब तुम ये अरेंजमेंट में अपना फोकस करने लग जाते हो ना, तो वो स्वेटर का धागा वाला सीन हो जाता है, ठीक है, एक धागा उधड़ा इंटरव्यू में, एक बार प्रेशर आया, एवरीथिंग फॉल्स अपार्ट, राइट? सो दैट इज समथिंग दैट you've got to be really really careful of. सो वहाँ पे हम अपना थोड़ा सा हम क्या करेंगे, हम सेल्फ अवेयरनेस करेंगे, और यहाँ पे हमारा तुम्हारा पहला पॉइंट which is where I want you guys to have, and this is not going to take one sheet of paper, this is going to take multiple sheets of paper, and this is something that you want to do, right? अपने ना अपने बारे में कुछ चीजें आइडेंटिफाई करनी शुरू करो, ठीक है? जैसे कि अब मैं तुम्हें पॉइंटर्स दे रहा हूँ हर शीट के स्टार्ट पे क्या होना चाहिए, राइट? एब्सोल्युटली यार थोड़ा थोड़ा हिंदी तो अलाउ करना पड़ेगा तेरे को, राइट? आई विल कीप मेजॉरिटी ऑफ माई टीचिंग इन इंग्लिश, but at times this is almost like a bias that I have. It's not controllable as such, so at times I might just flow into Hindi, right? लाइक वो स्वेटर के धागे वाला एग्जाम्पल इंग्लिश में अच्छा लगेगा नहीं, फैक्ट तो यही है। एग्रीड? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू एग्री विद मी? मतलब मुझे खुद ही सोच के इंग्लिश में लगता है कि वो साला एग्जाम्पल का मतलब ही लॉस्ट हो जाता है इंग्लिश में। तो स्वेटर का धागा तो हिंदी में ही अच्छा लगता है। So अब if we build our spheres, right, so there are these spheres that we've got to build. So the first sphere that you are going to build is, the point here is there is more than enough content about yourself. It is just that we've got to be aware of it. We've got to understand what is it that we have, what is it that we possess, and what is it that is there, right? What is there that we can what is it that we can hold on about ourselves, right? नहीं 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 यार, डिस्क्रिमिनेटिंग अगेंस्ट साउथ, ये यार ये तो टोटली गलत बात है पुष्कर। मतलब आई विल कंटेस्ट दिस वेहेमेंटली, आई विल नॉट इवन कंटेस्ट दिस, आई विल कंटेस्ट दिस वेहेमेंटली, राइट? हाउ डू यू गेट rid of what you are? So that's another underlying psychological aspect. So I've been born and brought up in North India. All my life I've spoken English because I'm used to it, right? So that also does not make me that should also not be held against me, that I formally majority of the times I communicate in English, and at the same time, right, if I speak something in Hindi, that's the natural dialect I've been born and brought up with. So how does that become discriminating against those from the south, right? No, that's actually a very very valid point, Pushkar. I know. I, I'm taking all your comments seriously here, right? Because I'm going to give you guys. Uh, I'm going to give you guys an illustration of how do you answer stuff, right? So this is like almost like a question. So Pushkar, I took it as a question, right? So let's imagine I'm in an interview scenario and somebody asks me, are you discriminating against those in the South by speaking in Hindi? No, sir, I'm absolutely not. It's part of my natural dialect. It's something that I've been born and brought up with. And that is what I'm doing. I'm just expressing myself in something that comes naturally to me. So I'll go on to, so imagine this is an interview scenario and this is what I'm faced with. So then I'll go on and state, sir, I would like to say that in case I have offended someone, that was completely at a subconscious level. I did not intend to do so, but I'm here. I did this just because it is part of my natural mechanism and how I was born and brought up with. So that is it, sir. That is all that is there to it, right? I respect our southern states immensely. I have nothing but love for them. So that is how you respond to criticism, with a smile on your face. You accept it. You accept what you've done, right? You do not, at any given point of time, the moment you are faced with criticism in an interview, you do not, the first reaction that most people have is to such a question is, so for example, Pushkar, I'm taking this as an example, I'm taking this as a practical illustration, I'm not doing this as anything else, and I absolutely love you for the fact that you put this question to me and we have this opportunity for building this teaching moment. The fact of the matter remains that, so when you're probed with negative prompt, right? So your discriminating against the South was a negative prompt, right? All of us will get these negative prompts in the interviews. So what is it that we should do when we are faced with a negative prompt, right? The fact of the matter is, one very easy psychological way of disarming the other person's argument is you accept it. You say, "Ah, sir, I did this. Oh, I accept the fact that I did this. I do accept the fact that I spoke in Hindi. But sir, my reasoning behind speaking in Hindi was this." Right? And you counter this with a smile. So any negative prompt in the world, right? Anything. Now you can apply this skill to anything that you do. So this is about a skill that you build, right? So imagine you are getting a negative prompt in the interview where he's challenging you. Negative prompts are nothing else but challenges given to you in an interview where he's poking you, he's pushing you, right? It's like with the needle, he's like punching you, right? Or he just wants to see where can I burst the bubble. ठीक है, उसको लगता है कहीं तो फटेगा, है ना, इतना प्रेशर डाल दूंगा कि एक जगह पे जाके फटेगा ये, ठीक है. सो वहां पे रोकना है ना, हमें हमें फटने से रोकना है, ठीक है. सो वो आप उसको प्रेशर को डिसार्म कर दो स्माइल के साथ, बोल दो यार हाँ करा मैंने, पर मैंने इसलिए करा. ये मत करो, डिनाई मत करो कि मैंने नहीं करा. मैं डिनाई नहीं कर रहा यार, मैं तो कर रहा हूं, मैंने करा हिंदी में, मैं तो अभी भी करूंगा, मेरे को नहीं रोक सकते तुम ये करने से, ठीक है. सो दैट इज हाउ यू हैंडल दीज सिचुएशंस. दिस इज अबाउट कम्युनिकेशन, द आर्ट एंड टैक्ट ऑफ आर्गुमेंटेशन. हाउ डू यू डील विद आर्ग्यूमेंट्स, हाउ डू यू डील विद सिचुएशंस. दैट इज ऑल दैट वी आर डूइंग नाउ. पर्सनल ट्रेट्स, आपके जो भी पर्सनैलिटी के ट्रेट्स हैं आप उनको लिखोगे. आप किस टाइप के इंडिविजुअल हो, किन चीज़ों में बिलीफ रखते हो, ठीक है. यार अब ये ना बड़ा फनी चीज़ है, पर्सनल ट्रेट्स में तुम्हारा इनफैक्ट पॉलिटिक्स भी इंक्लूडेड है, ठीक है. तुम लेफ्ट विंग हो, राइट विंग हो, सेंट्रल हो, ठीक है, यहाँ तक इंक्लूड होना चाहिए. तुम्हें इतनी क्लैरिटी होनी चाहिए कि तुम कौन सा विंग ऑफ पॉलिटिक्स में हो, राइट. सो नाउ आप अगर आप अगर आपको यहाँ तक पता होना चाहिए कि आपका पॉलिटिक्स का कौन सा स्ट्रीम है जिसमें बिलीव करते हो यार, आपका रिजर्वेशन पे क्या बिलीफ है, आपके आपके बिलीव्स हैं क्या, आपके थिंकिंग पैटर्न है क्या, दुनिया में मुद्दे क्या है, इसराइल पैलेस्टीन में कौन सा सच्चा है कौन सा झूठा है, पता तो होना चाहिए, हमें तो पता होना चाहिए, ठीक है. वहां पे बोलना क्या है इज अ सेपरेट थिंग, राइट. सो वहां पे बोलना क्या है वो एक सेपरेट चीज है. So, Sneha, that is like a brilliant question. I'll take up this question. I'm breaking my own rule here, right? I am breaking my own rule. I know two people who will be like really angry. I remember the name. The other person I don't. Right? I remember Akshaya's name because I did not answer Akshaya's question, and now I'm answering Sneha's answer, which is not like. So I'm like kind of breaking the rule because I was supposed to answer all the questions at the end. But this is a point in continuity, right? Because we are doing negative prompts now. So for example, you get a negative prompt. This is an example of a negative prompt, Sneha, which is like a terrific negative prompt, right? Why is it that we should select you when we have people better experienced than you, right? So then you have someone who's better experienced than us, right? The first point is there in that particular case is, sir, in terms of tangibles, if someone is carrying better experience than me, sir, you are the best judge of it, and I would humbly accept the fact that someone was chosen in front of me, someone who was deserving of me. But sir, I would like to highlight here at this particular point of time, I am deeply self-aware of who I am and what I believe in, what my strengths are, what I am as an individual. So I would like to iterate here that this is what I believe in, 1, 2, 3, and this is what I stand for. So sir, if there is someone who's better than this, then that person is deserving of this seat, sir. It's a competitive process. You are the best judges of this process. So I leave it up to your better wisdom to decide who should be chosen. So that is how you handle this particular negative prompt. You accept. Again, our way of doing this is we will accept. फाइन, फेयर इनफ यार, बोल दो मुझसे बेहतर कोई है, ठीक है यार, अच्छी बात है, बेहतर है तो बेहतर है. वाई शुड आई बी sarcastic or critical about it? Why should I feel bad about it? Why should I feel hurt about it? Right? Why should I start competing with that person? I'm not competing with that person, right? I am only what I can be, and that is what I'll try to show. That's it. That's how you get out of it, Sneha. As easy as possible. This is an opportunity to tell your strengths of who you are, what you believe in. You accept it. Right? There is no way. There is as an interview rule from today onwards, right? So we are. I'll keep reiterating, right? Uh, Psychology of interviews is very very simple. All you've got to show is that you're willing to learn, that you're here to learn. Why are you there? Why are you going to a B school? You're going to B school, yeah, to learn. That is what you're trying to do, right? Right. So that is exactly your purpose of being there. So if you're going there to learn, so might as well go ahead and do it, right? Might as well go ahead and accept it. If there is somebody who's learned more than you in life, how can you possibly compete with that? Exactly. Accept it and move forward, and then show that you are logical enough to do that. So now you've one upped him, right? So that is one simple way of handling it. Again, viewer 1357. So I don't know why you are the 1357th viewer in the world, right? There has to be some logic behind it, right? Is 57 and 13, are 13 and 57 both prime numbers as such? Comes to my mind. 57 is not a prime number, right? It's 19 into 3, if I'm not mistaken. 13 is a prime number. So I have this like crazy thing, right? So whenever I look at car numbers, right? This is like a crazy, crazy thing that I have. Oh, I've had all my life, right? So car numbers, the number plates of cars generally carry 4-digit numbers at the end, right? And I've done this ever since I was a kid. I don't know why, what kind of thing I suffer from, right? So I would look at these numbers, and for example, if I would see a car with a number 1357, I'll check 13 is 13 prime is 57. What is 13 plus 7? It's 70. 13 plus 57, 70 is 7 plus 0. It is 7. 7 is my birthday. Wow, great. 7 is a prime number. So I would actually reduce everything to primes in life. Right? That's almost a way of. And I still see numbers. And that is one reason why I almost remember what the numbers of my. So my best friend's car number is 9130. I'll not give you the full number, but her car number is 9130, right? So if she's listening to this, uh, huge shout out to her, Sandro 9130, right? That's etched in my memory. So that's how you do things, right? So Thala for a reason, man, God, Thala for a reason is number 7, right? Number 7 is love. I was born on the 7th of November. So I should love myself, right? I love Thala. So now, getting back to this, so you make these personal traits, you make these thinking patterns, everything you think, then you start thinking about your family members. How is it that you think about your family members? You think about your family members not from a limited scope. You think about them, that how is it that they contributed to your life, how is it that you contributed to their life, what was your role of your family members. It can be anyone in your family, your brothers, sisters, चाचा, ताया, मासी, etc., मामा, जो भी है जिसने क्या contribute किया है, तुम्हें कैसे बनाया, right? So that is something that you've got to do, right? Now क्या बात है गौरव, क्या मस्का लगाने का क्या स्कीम है. व्यूअर 1357, right? दिक्कत ये यार, if I start taking your questions, then this will become about questions, and I'm still on the first slide, and I really put in a lot of hard work to make 20 slides, right? So I'm not sure we are going beyond 5 today. मेरे को कन्विक्शन हो गया 5 से आगे जाएंगे नहीं, ठीक है. अच्छा, वो शुरू में हम वैनिटी वाली बात कर रहे थे. देयर आर 89 पीपल वाचिंग दिस स्ट्रीम लाइव. सो तुम अब मैं आज 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 तो मैं सुपर वैनिटी मूड में हूँ, ठीक है. अपने आप को मतलब Yeah, I'm going to hype up myself, right? So that is what this is about. This process is about loving yourself. And I want you guys to fall in love with yourself, be happy about yourself, show to the interview who you are, what you believe in, what is it that you do. So that is something that I want you guys to do as well. Yeah, 89, 90 live log watching right now. That's too low a number, yeah. So अभी मैं वो करूंगा जो सारे यूट्यूबर करते हैं ना, फर्स्ट टाइम कर रहा हूँ मैं लाइफ में, मैं पहले ऑनेस्टली बता रहा हूँ, मैंने ऐसे कभी नहीं किया। यार और लोग लेके आओ, 200 200 लाइक होने चाहिए, 200 लाइव वॉचर होने चाहिए, शेयर करो और टेलीग्राम ग्रुप्स पे डालो। इससे बढ़िया सेशन हो नहीं सकता, लाइफ चेंजिंग सेशन है, राइट, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा। लोग लेके आओ, नंबर बढ़ाओ, मेरे दिल को खुशी मिले, वैनिटी मेरी भी थोड़ी सी बढ़े, right? 18 1357, can you post your question again? It's lost out in the comments, so if you could, like this felt like, I am really sorry guys, but this felt like really alien to me, asking you to bring more people. Like completely alien to who I am as a person and what I actually care about. So we'll believe in personal traits, thinking patterns, family, schooling. How did they contribute? Your schooling, you should ask yourself intangibles. We never do this, right? But it's just stuck to me, 1357. Till the time you give me your name, right? HT was kind enough to give me my name. I will keep probing you. I will keep poking you. So it's almost like I've picked an adversary in the class, right, to poke at. Because we are like viewer 1357, which like curiously piques my curiosity. What are your plans if you reject your application? What are your plans if you reject your applications? Viewer 1357. What are your plans if you reject your application? What is it that you plan to do? There would be something that you plan to do, right? What is it that you plan to do? My counter question to you here, right now. As simple as that. Remember, can I say this? Can I put this question in the category of negative prompts, NP? We can take this as a category. Absolutely not an issue here. So how did you handle it at ISB last year? That's a great question to ask. How did you handle it? Can I say this is a negative prompt? IELTS Canada. That's more applicable for the people in Punjab, right, Mandeep? We have more donkeys here than anywhere else in the world. So what is it that you answered it with, viewer 1357? This is like a really pertinent question. If someone asks you what are your plans if you reject your application, how do you handle that? Right now you're basically being told, right, that we are rejecting you. Right, and they're putting you under the pump, they're putting you under pressure, they're asking you to think on your feet, right? So the first thing that you do is, we will always maintain our positive demeanor. We would take everything in our stride, right? And we'll state it with a very positive mindset. That's what I accept. I completely understand that this is a competitive process and I am part of the process. In case I am rejected, sir, I would humbly accept the same. There would be sufficient cogent reasoning that you would have put to this decision, and I believe and I trust in this process. That is the very reason I am respectfully appearing before you today. So I accept that there would be a reason. My plans very simply are, the fact of the matter remains, ISB is a dream institute for me. It is something that I aspire to be a part of, right? I would seek your feedback as I would take your feedback. I would definitely try to take your feedback. I'll try to introspect. I'll make sure that I'm a better candidate. And wherever you found that I was lacking, right, I would like to make that up, sir. Sir, is there anything that is lacking in me that you feel right now? Because I believe I'm a great candidate in this particular case, sir. And if there is further information that I can provide about myself, I would love to do so, sir. I'm saying this with complete humbleness, sir. And I'm saying this with the fact that this answer of mine should show the desperation that I have to be here in this environment, in this to be here at your college, sir. I how deeply I value my place here. So I would like that opportunity from you, and I would like to extend this conversation forward. So that's how you handle it. You don't let him go, right? You do not accept defeat in this. So if you are being told you are being rejected, right, you do not accept defeat. You ask him, sir, you say very humbly, yes, sir, I accept I am being defeated, right? And so if they told you they were not going to give me they told you they were not going to give you a review in the interview, you again come back with that, sir. Again, the same humbleness and the same. I'm 100% sure you would not have taken the words that you would not have spoken the words that I did. You extend. I'm kind of sure about it. I might be wrong, so I'm willing to accept. That is part of the process, right? You should be willing to accept if you're wrong. So I am also willing to accept that I might be wrong here in making an assumption, right? So all, even if they don't give you a review in the interview, you still go on and accept the same thing again. That you are very adamant about it, but in a very polite and humble way. Sure enough, sir. I accept. I agree. I understand. You would have your reasons, sir. I would have to understand those, sir. So my only case in that particular case is that now the fact that you're not giving me a chance to review it, I would ask you to illustrate the reasons why I'm not good enough, sir, so that I can work on that. So that is what I would do. So your intent should be very clear to them. Your intent, your desperation to be there, of accept and show humbleness. And while doing so, keep repeating, keep reiterating that I'm a good candidate. I have skills, sir. Give me an opportunity to show me my skills. So that is how you keep. So that is what you do, right? Now coming back to this particular slide, which you build your spheres and how you introspect, you're going to detail everything in every which way your schooling impacted you, right? You should think about these things. You should start thinking about these things, because if you don't think about these things, you don't really. The point is, they're going to ask you a question about your schooling. You've not thought really, you've not articulated it well in your own mind, so you will be stumped in the interview. So we don't want that situation to occur, right? We want it to be. We want to carry perfect mental clarity in the interview. So think about your schooling. It's a sphere of your life. Think about your college life. Think about the cities and the states you've lived in. Cities, states. If you've lived in a single city and single state, great. Think about the states you've lived in. Everything about the cities, states, etc. So you've lived in 4 different cities in 4 different states. Then you've got to work on 4 different cities and 4 different states, right? Every possible question that you can think about, every interesting thing, anything that you can think about these cities, states, etc. That's your basic hygiene about the interview, right? And the next thing is, if you're a working professional, your job descriptions in detail. If you're not a working professional, or you've done internships, or you're a college student, your internships, your experiences in different organizations, detail them as much as you can, right? Write as many things as you can about them, what you did, what you learned about them, etc., etc., and go in as much detail as you can, right? Make sure you carry that clarity with you, right from your thinking process of who you are, what you think, what you believe in, to what you've done, what you've experienced, what others have done for you, and what you have done for others. That includes family members, your friends, your peers. There should be perfect clarity, a complete 360-degree view of. You should be able to identify who you are, where you stand, what is it that you are in life, right? And when someone asks you a question from any particular part of your life, you should be able to answer it. Bang, smack. That's it. That's asking me what I did when I was aged 18. That's asking me what I was when I did age 21. You should have perfect clarity for that, right? You should have articulated it in your own mind that this is what I did, this is what I stand for, this is who I am. So it's very, very important to introspect and be self-aware. So again, going back to the previous slide, it is not about certificates, right? It's not about certificates. It's about introspection and what is it that you present to them. We've all done sufficient things in our lives. It's just that we've got to be aware of them. We've got to portray them in a manner where we are willing to accept that this is who I am, this is what I want to do. Remember, any call that you get, any institute, you might be at any level, you might be at any selection level, any call that you get, any institute that you get, Once you've gotten the call, you've basically passed the minimum acceptance criteria for that particular institute. You're there at the interview. So why think negatively? Go in with a positive mindset. I'm here now. I will show the best version of myself. I will tell them that this is who I am, this is what I have done, and this is what I'm willing to learn. Right? So that is how you build about it. आयु संकराज ज़्यादा नहीं हो गया यार. This is how you've got to start thinking. You've got to start believing in yourself over the next 3 or 4 months. Unless and until you start believing this, unless and until you start believing in yourself, that how do you show that confidence to others? Confidence is not something which is available for sale at a shop, right? You can't go and buy it. You can't go and buy 2 kilos of confidence in a shop, right? You are only confident about things that you've thought about. All I'm asking you to do is think about your life, have it perfectly clearly mapped out. This is what I have done, this is what I've achieved, this is who I am, right? So that's all I'm asking you to do. So once you have that clarity, you can go ahead and portray it in an interview. If you don't have that clarity, it gets difficult to carry that kind of confidence in an interview. So that is something that you do, right? Now, next thing that we come to, a next discussion point, right? That we arrive at, right? Why is it too difficult? You did what you did, the good with the bad. You accept what you are, who you are. What is the problem in that? Why run away from who we are, what we did? There's nothing to feel happy about or sad about. You did what you did, who you are, you are. Right, that's it. It's as simple as that. Life boils down to this. We all end the same way, right? So it's only that we've got fancy definitions in our head that this is what happens, but the end is pretty much the same for everyone. So why be too harsh on yourself? Right. Now the next thing is, which is very, very critical, super critical. So if I ask you guys to introduce yourself, right? Fair enough, you did not do any extraordinary things in the world. Dig deep into yourself. There would be something that you would have done, something that you would have thought about, something that you would have articulated, something that you would have believed in, something that makes you a good human being. Can you go and state that? If you go ahead and do that, that's sufficient, right? Again, self-belief and confidence are not up for sale. Till the time you keep looking at yourself, this is a very, very negative way of looking at your own self. I have not done any extraordinary things. And that's what I'm saying. Kill all this negativity. Believe in yourself. Start believing in yourself. Absolutely. The Pushkar Show comes in with a comment. Absolutely, we can. And the one way of looking at it is the people who are supposed to make rockets, they are making rockets. So I'm not really needed for making rockets. I'm supposed to do what I'm doing, and I'm doing that. We should be happy about that, and we should be at peace. Great. That's mechanomic. That's great. Terrific thing that you do. Fair enough. That's something that's happened outside of your domain. We accept that and move on with it, right? Not an issue. You talk about the things that you learned from what you did. Complete focus on this, who you are as a person, what you learned. It's okay. It's fair enough. Accept who you are. Not a problem. It's only a problem as long as we think it is a problem, right? That is like such a terrible cliche to say here, right? But that is actually true. It is super, super, super cliched and sugary, but it is true. That's what it is. Right, now coming to the next point. If you guys had to introduce yourself, right? What is it that you will talk about yourself? What is it that you will say about yourself? If you had to introduce yourself, what is it that you would talk about yourself? What is it that you would say about yourself? Things that you would talk about, things that you would say. Quickly type in the comments, right? When that's where we will pick up this particular point of being verbose. Never helps. How do you define the word verbose as well? If someone can type in the comments, that will be great as well. How would you introduce yourself? Quickly, quick introductions in the comment section. Just post in your comments. So background, family, start with my name, where I was born, brought up, schooling, graduation, name, location, strengths, weaknesses. No, it is not, as long as you can, Nikhil, show it to be something that's positively contributed to you. Absolutely, Shubhrajyoti, you do need to do that. Use unnecessary fancy words. I did not get that something. How to defend your year. Drop year, we'll get that. Basically, my name, where I come from, my past experiences, hobby, I get interested, name, what I did in graduation, my little interests. Right, so the thing is, once we start telling him where we are, where we were born, brought up, a lot of people do this. They tell, so what do I mean by facts in this particular case, right? And why do they bore people? So imagine if I go in an interview and I tell that where is it that I did my 10th from, 12th from, where is it that I did my engineering from, I give the names of colleges, cities where I did it all from, etc., etc. I mention all these things, right? How boring would that be? That's like immensely boring, and that's what majority of the people do. So for example, I belong to Chandigarh, right? So majority of the people who've been born and brought up in Chandigarh, is there anyone from Chandigarh here in today's session who's from Chandigarh? Because if you are from Chandigarh, then you would relate with me and what I'm saying. Is anyone there from Chandigarh? Anyone? Okay, Pargat is studying at Chandigarh University. Right, you look like B Prague. I get this very often. Like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we are talking about my looks, or rather my lack of looks. Because Bri Park and I belong to a general categorization of people. We belong to a Venn diagram of the way we look. Our Venn diagram is easily definable. Fat and bald with a French beard. Sort of a French beard. I don't even have that. So now, so those of you who've been here or who belong to Chandigarh or who've been this part of the country, one very common introduction that we get here is in this part of the world is I belong to City Beautiful, right? So how does your belonging to City Beautiful impact anything in the interview, right? Why do you? I find that to be extremely, it's almost such a ridiculous thing to say, right? Because that doesn't define you as a person. That is your introduction of the city, right? Not yours. The city is beautiful, right? You might as well go ahead and say that I'm a beautiful person, right? That is your introduction. I am a beautiful person. I believe in my own beauty. This is who I am. I am a fat bald man who's beautiful and pretty to look at. That is a much better way of saying than rather saying that I belong to City Beautiful, right? Because that's the city's introduction. Why are you doing it, right? Why are you giving the name of your college? He has all those factual pieces of information in front of him printed, that's lying out there. That content is out there. That's not really needed. So that those are things that we can avoid. Those are things that those are all factual details that we can go overboard with. Let him ask. If he wants to know where you did your graduation from, what was your experience in your graduation, let him ask, right? Let him ask, right? He will ask you, where did you graduate from, where did you do your schooling from. You don't need to tell him that, right? Your introduction should be who you are, what you do, what is it that you are doing as a person, what is it that you're presently doing, what is it that you're looking forward to do. That's it. As simple as that. That's it, right? To the point, crisp. Tell him, give him something to hold on to, and that's it. That's all you've got to do. That's all you've got to do to handle this particular thing, right? So So now that something has left a very interesting comment, which is that confidence is needed in life, sir. So can I say this, that that confidence in part will be driven by being self-aware? So if you are self-aware, if you are aware of who you are, then naturally you will be confident about yourself. Sure, Saurabh, I'll give you my introduction. If I have to give you I'll give you an example of an introduction of who I am. Uh, let's suppose it's morning time. Good morning, sir. Uh, if it requires me to answer, if I've already wished them, I won't. So if directly starts off with the introduction, sir. I'm Prashant, sir. I actually would not even need to give my name here, right? So I will just simply start off with, sir, I'm a graduate engineer and I'm someone who's worked in the education industry for the last 16 years. I have had a depth of experience and I've had a depth of experience which ranges across domains of teaching and writing, and that's something that I've done, and that's something that I'm proud of. And as an individual, I believe in being honest, being upfront, and stating maintaining a very logical and rational approach towards everything that I do. I am a deeply self-aware individual who knows of his own strengths and weaknesses. I try to build on them. I try to work on my own weaknesses. Going forward, I look to build a career in the field of education. I look to build upon the foundation that I've already laid over the last 2 decades, almost close to 2 decades of my work, and my work profile shows the same. And that is something that I'm going to build upon. That is something that I'm going to work upon. While doing this, in all earnestness, there is one thing that defines me, and that is my defining characteristic. I always wish to learn more. That is something that I do. I am very good at accepting things the way they are and what is it that I need to fix. So that is my endeavor going forward. That is what I'm looking forward to do. Learn as much as I can. This course of yours gives me a wonderful opportunity to do so, and that is why I'm here, sir, today, having this interaction with you. That's it. That's what I believe in. That's who I am. That's what I stand for, right? So I am pretty clear in my head that this is what I am. So I don't really uh, I'm not really trying to sing यार. प्रगट सिंगिंग का तो नाम मत ले यार. भाई मेरी सिंगिंग के साथ तो मेरा टेरिबल रिलेशनशिप है. सो आई हैव लाइक टेरिबल मेमोरी ऑफ सिंगिंग. एक बार जिंदगी में, राइट, आई ट्राइड. कॉन्फिडेंस से बोलो सौरभ, कुछ भी सही है यार. इतना पेडेंटिक क्यों होना ग्रामर को लेके. I'll have to go through the recording and look at check the grammar and the semantics of what I said. सिंगिंग को लेके यार हॉरर स्टोरी है यार. एक बार कोशिश करी थी मैंने स्कूल में, एंड आई was part of the group choir. I was actually thrown out of a group choir of 50 people because the singing instructor we had was like, कितना बेसुरा है यार, 50 लोगों का choir तूने खराब कर दिया. It's like we have to throw you out. This is class 5. That's such a traumatic experience. I have never really gone ahead and tried to sing ever again in my life. I don't even sing in the bathroom. The trauma of class 5 is still there. Yes, इंटरव्यू में अगर तेरी सेल्फ स्टीम लो है तो ये आइडेंटिफाई कर सेल्फ स्टीम लो क्यों है, उसको फिक्स कर. भाई प्रॉब्लम वहां है. फेक करना इज नॉट द सोल्यूशन. सेल्फ स्टीम क्यों है वो उसको आइडेंटिफाई करना, कोई कारण होगा. प्रॉब्लम को आइडेंटिफाई करो यार. Accept it. This is what you did. You would have learned something in sports, right? Why give an excuse? You messed up in 12th, sir. I scored in my 50s. You would be asked about that dip. So you should accept that very, very humbly, sir. यार बर्थ से ही ऐसा है तो फिर तो बड़ी डिफीटिस्ट अप्रोच है ना. तो उसमें भी सोचना पड़ेगा ऐसा क्यों है तो बर्थ से. I will simply refuse to sing. I will tell him about my childhood trauma just like I have told you guys. This might be a true story, this might be a fake story. Now you have to think, you have to go to your bed and think, क्या सर ने सच बोला कि क्या सर ने सिर्फ लपेट दिया, but actually ये सच था. I still remember the guy's name was, I think, the singing instructor was Alvin D'Souza or something like that. Still remember his name. Like, memory just does not go off my head. So guys, we'll stick to our, remember, don't bore the interviewer with trivial stuff. Be relevant, be to the point. टर्न इट अराउंड यार. क्यों इतना दुखी है जिंदगी में? टर्न इट अराउंड. क्या हुआ ऐसा? I only believe there is like one outcome of, there is only one outcome in life which you really can't turn it around, and that is if you're dead. Right? Everything else can be turned around, pretty much. Or unless and until you're facing the second possible exception to that is because we could have been you are facing with an incurable disease, right? Those are like two really negative outcomes. कहाँ है यार मनदीप? काम दिलवा दे मूवीज में डब करने का. जहां पैसा मिलेगा वहां ये गंजा बंदर नाचेगा. Absolutely, Saurav, that is actually a brilliant one. You can do that. सुभीक्षा, जो आपका करियर एम्बिशन है आप वो बोलोगे, आपको क्या बनना है उसको आप आइडेंटिफाई करोगे. बिना वो आइडेंटिफाई करे आपको इंटरव्यू में जाना नहीं चाहिए. आपको क्लियर होना चाहिए आप क्यों जा रहे हो. ठीक है. नाउ व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट योरसेल्फ, right, when you talk about your introductions, when you talk about anything that you're asked about, you give short to the point direct answers, right? You do not talk about what your parents did, and you do not talk about their achievements, you do not talk about your siblings, you do not talk about your friends, peers, how they impacted you. A lot of us do this, right? I saw, यार तेरा ना नाम बड़ा खतरनाक है, मनन महेश्वरी. आजकल एक, आजकल तो नहीं, खैर वो काफ़ी टाइम से है पॉपुलर मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर तेरे नाम के साथ. आजकल तो छाया हुआ है. आजकल तो वॉर चल रही है यूट्यूब पे, बड़ी मज़ेदार वॉर है देखने के लिए. क्या करना है यार मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर बन के. सो उसमें दिक्कत मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर बनने में ये है कि उसके लिए ना कुछ, उसके लिए वो बनना पड़ेगा. हम तो हैं जो है, बन के क्या करना. योर पेरेंट्स डिड what they did, your siblings did what they did, your friends and peers did what they did. The interview is not about them, it should not be about them. One super common mistake is that, so for example, I'm just recalling one of the answers that was shared with me like a few days back by one of my students, where this was, I think, yeah, about 3 or 4 days back, right? So she was like, she shared this with me where she spoke about how that she ended up being a CA because her brother was a CA, and how she was inspired by her sibling, and like the first half of the answer was all about her brother and taking inspiration from it, and etc etc, and went on and on and on. But what that does is, and how great the brother was, right? So then what you're doing is you're describing your brother, right? You're not describing yourself. You got introduced to the world of chartered accountancy, you had the good fortune, you had it in your family, then you went and saw the field, right? You were genuinely interested and curious about the field. You should talk about the fact that the field excited you and hence you went ahead and joined it, not the fact that your brother was doing great as a CA. So that is not what you should do, right? In an interview, the interview is about you, about what you want to do, what you want to communicate, what do you stand for. So don't use your parents, siblings, friends, peers as crutches, right? You should not use them as crutches. They are not things that you should depend upon. You are what you are, and you made those conscious choices, right? And that's it. It's as simple as that. So don't talk about everyone and everything, your schools, colleges, teachers, etc etc, all of that. Just believe in what you are and what you say, right? That's it. That's what you do, that's what you stand for, and that's what you should do, right? Remember, more than anything else, like logic trumps description every day. So as long as you are logical and as long as you are proving a point, right? As long as you are thinking about, remember, this is nothing else. The art of great conversations is nothing else but the art of having arguments and being aware of the fact that you are presenting arguments to the person who's in front of you. So the moment you're aware of it, the game gets loaded in your favor, right? Because now you're not having a conversation, not you're trying to win the argument, right? And you win arguments by logic, you don't win arguments by passion or appealing to emotion. That is not something that you do. You remain logical and you direct to the point, give crisp answers, and you get away with it, right? And that is where acceptance also works a lot. uh so this is like this is the most, I think, can I say this is the most conflicting slide in this presentation that we've had so far. Would you guys agree? This is like a super conflicting slide. It says, please don't be honest. But then it says, don't lie. But then it says, don't be a good person who tells everything honestly. So what is it that I want to say? Should you lie or should you be honest? What is it that I'm trying to say here? What is it that I'm trying to say? Market your pros but not all your cons. A mission of truth is necessary. अरे ऐसे थोड़ी यार प्रगट, हम आज खुल के बात कर रहे हैं, तो ऐसा थोड़ी कि आपको एक्सप्लेटिव्स अलाओगे क्लास में. इतना भी नहीं खुलना यार. थोड़ी सी मर्यादा में रहो. Ah, so the thing is, you essentially what this means is you've got to be selective, right? So on a lot of occasions, what we do is, I'll ask you genuinely, I'll ask you this question, right? Uh, and I'll be very genuinely, I'll. So for example, तुम्हारे लाइफ में कोई डिफिकल्ट मोमेंट आया, राइट? या तुम्हारे लाइफ में कुछ भी अप एंड डाउन आए, कुछ भी आया तुम्हारे, हमारे साथ सबके साथ होता है यार. वी गो थ्रू बैड टाइम्स, वी गो थ्रू टाइम्स विच आर चैलेंजिंग, वी गो थ्रू थिंग्स विच आर लाइक which uh, might not be the, ठीक है, मतलब बेस्ट पॉसिबल टाइम नहीं था लाइफ में. हमारे में कुछ हुआ, हमारे साथ बुरा हुआ कुछ लाइफ में, ठीक है, या हमारे साथ कुछ भी हुआ, हम कुछ भी बोल रहे हैं ना, हमारे साथ हमारे स्कोर्स खराब हुए, हम बीमार हो गए, हमारा गैप ईयर आ गया. 100 चीज़ें हैं ज़िंदगी में जो बुरी हो सकती है, ठीक है. अभी वो कई बार क्या होगा, है ना, और ये इंटरव्यू में होगा, वो एक्चुअली ना तुम्हारे को कंसर्न के साथ पूछेगा कि ऐसा क्यों हुआ, ये क्यों किया. वो ऐसे में नहीं होगा कि मतलब कई कई इंटरव्यूज में तो ऐसा होगा, वो तुम्हें नीचे दिखाने के लिए पूछेगा, अरे कितने बुरे नंबर है 10वीं 12वीं में, क्या, व्हाट हैव यू डन, दिस इज टेरिबल. And at times he might not do this. He might ask you, why do you have a gap year? What happened? What went wrong? He might ask you in a very polite, gentle way, right? And we might go and start blabbing. यार सर ऐसा हुआ, ऐसा हुआ, ऐसा हुआ, ये हुआ, ये हुआ, ये हुआ, ये सब, और अपने पूरी राम कहानी लेके हम बैठ जाएंगे, ठीक है. नहीं ज़रूरत है वो करने की, ठीक है. जहाँ पे लाइफ में गलती हुई है एक्सेप्ट कर लो, हाँ सर ये हुआ, ये करा मैंने, आई देन कोर्स करेक्टेड, आई डिड दिस, राइट. सो फॉर एग्जांपल, लॉट ऑफ पीपल आर they have this feeling where uh, they have these, they might have a bad academic score, right? So we had one person who mentioned it as a comment, your 10th 12th or your graduation might be a bad score. So एंड देन दे स्टार्ट जस्टिफाइंग, सर मेरे को ये बीमारी हो गई थी, मुझे ये हो गया था, मेरे साथ ऐसा हो गया था, मेरे साथ वैसा हो गया था, मेरे साथ इतना बुरा हुआ था. मतलब मतलब अगर गिरना है तो उस लेवल तक भी हम गिर सकते हैं कि हमारे पास बिजली का बिल देने के पैसे नहीं थे, तो लाइट नहीं थी, तो लाइट नहीं थी तो मैं पढ़ नहीं सका, है ना. मतलब आप कुछ भी कर सकते हो, है ना. तो उसमें वो बोल देगा भाई स्ट्रीट लाइट के ट्यूबलाइट में जाके पढ़ लेता. So he can come back with that. That is purely possible. So the point there is you accept the fact that sir this happened, I accepted this happened. ठीक है, scores थे खराब थे, I agree. But sir, I am a better person now. I have cleared the I realized my weaknesses. I realized the fact that I needed to put in more academic work. I needed to put in more academic rigor. I've done that. I've cleared this exam. I'm here in front of you, sir. I believe I am a changed person. I am an improved person. Life is about learning from one's mistakes, and I've learned and I move forward. That's it. So बहाना नहीं देना यार, बेसिक फंडा है. ठीक है. और सब कुछ ऑनेस्टली नहीं बताना है. मतलब अपनी राम कहानी लेके मत बैठ जाओ. वो अगर प्यार से भी पूछ रहा है ना, एक चीज कभी मत भूलना इंटरव्यू में, अगर वो प्यार से भी पूछ रहा है तुम्हें कुछ, इफ ही इज आस्किंग इट विद लव एंड विद अ स्माइल ऑन हिज फेस, ही इज स्टिल जजिंग यू. इट्स स्टिल अ कंपेटिटिव प्रोसेस. ही इज स्टिल असाइनिंग मार्क्स टू यू. सो यू माइट फील दैट बहुत प्यार से पूछ रहा है यार, बड़े आराम से पूछ रहा है, पर ज़रूरी नहीं है ना, कि मतलब वो जज तो कर रहा है, मार्क्स तो दे रहा है, माइनस तो कर रहा है. ठीक है. सो ऑलवेज बी अवेयर ऑफ दैट. हमें अपनी, आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू, आई नो दिस इज, आई एम shifting into Hindi here, right? And with due permission, I'm doing that. I'll also try to think of an English equivalent for this, right? हमें अपनी आप बीती नहीं बतानी है ना. मेरे को ये पता नहीं आप बीती is like, this is some Hindi teacher in our school who used to say this. Hindi or Punjabi teacher, I don't remember now explicitly. I think this is Punjabi. The Punjabi sir used to say कि अपनी आप बीती ना दसो. ठीक है. This is the pet dialogue that he used to say, that अपनी आप बीती ना दसो, की करे वो दसो. Yes, like in Punjabi used to say like, don't tell me what you suffered to. I don't want to, what you did, the work that you did, tell me that, right? And because people used to go up to him and tell him that, sir, I could not do the homework because of this reason. I could not do it. I could not do it. This, etc., etc. Right? So that is what he used to say to us, like a really blunt Punjabi guys. And Punjabi guys can be very blunt, right, to your face. And like, so just something, you know, there are things which stick to your subconscious. You might try to erase them, but you can never really get rid of them. One of those things, right? So that brings us to a very interesting point in this class, where I will do what I am being paid to do, right? I'll promote the GDPI course by iQUANTA. That is why I'm here, right? So we've got a terrific course running at iQUANTA right now, right? For GDPI course, it's, you get one-on-one PIs, you get SOP evaluations, you get WAT practice, you get live sessions such as these, you get there are 7 interview sessions per students. There are videos, how do you answer your how do you deal with essay writing. There's daily essay writing feedback, there's group discussion, communication skills, resume building, SOPs, GK, current affairs, GK compendiums. There's like, you name it, you ask for it and you'll get it in the course, right? So those are all things which are part of the iQUANTA course, and those are things. And most importantly, you've got this set of mentors where you'll get access to people who are there in B schools, in specific B schools. So which is like a tremendous win-win situation, right? You've got specific calls and you need to speak to specific people, that, and you need those insights, right? That this is the school that you are heading to, and what is it that you should think about this school, or how should you approach this particular school. Then you'll be like, you will have access to all these mentors from different B schools. They'll be able to tell you about the culture, the questions, the approach for those particular B schools. So all this help is available to you in the paid iQUANTA course. So that's something that you should most definitely look forward to. I think in the comments section we've got the link for the course as well. So that's something that you should look up to, and you should talk to the people who are managing the administration for the course. So that's something that you guys can do. Chalo, let's get back to our class now, right? The next thing is that a lot of us, we want to do everything in life, right? We want to work in the corporate sector as well. We want to learn finance as well. We've also done HR internship. We've also done trading in stocks. We've also done internships. We've also done startups, we've done student organizations, we've done NGOs, we want to be socially aware. You name an activity and you have like सब कुछ है, मैंने तो सब कुछ किया है. It is like a complete khichdi of what you've done in your life, right? So that is really you might have done a number of things. How many of you have done a lot of diverse things in your college days and in your work profiles, where you've genuinely done a lot of diverse things? A simple yes or no would do here. All you need to do is put up a simple yes or no. How many of you've done this, right? Where you've done a lot of different things. कुछ किया नहीं, अक्षय ने करा है, ठीक है, जेनी ने नहीं किया, केल्विन, I'm not sure it's Kelvin or Jenny, the first name. I think it should be Kelvin, right? Manan has done. महेश्वरी है, तूने तो किया ही होगा. देखा, मैंने तेरे टाइपकास्ट कर दिया. Here I am part of the VARC course and I'll be here, right? Uh, we've entered into an academic partnership with iQUANTA. There are other things that I do as well, right? Uh, Honest acceptance. I cannot be tied down to one thing full time. I've never done that in my whole life. I'm a free bird who lives his life freely and does what he wants to do. But iQUANTA had a great conversation with Indrajit, and that's why I got on board. In the last 1 month, we've had some great calls and conversations where he's given me the complete freedom to do what I want to do, right? And reach out to this amazing set of students that are there in iQUANTA, access to these students. So I'll be there, right, for 2024. And going forward, I look forward to a very long association with iQUANTA. So that's something that you should be rest assured about. So you've done a lot of things, right? So the point is, a lot of people, when they talk about their career goals, I'll give you one very specific example in this case. A lot of people will talk about the fact that they want to work in finance and then they will end the answer with, I want to start a startup of my own, right? भाई डिसाइड कर लेना करना क्या है. स्टार्ट कर लेना, मुझे बिजनेस करना है सर, बट मैं पहले तो कॉर्पोरेट लेवल में जाऊंगा और मुझे ये करना है, ठीक है. फिर वो मतलब 10 अलग चीजें बोल देगा कि ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है, ये भी करना है. दैट इज समथिंग दैट यू शुड नॉट डू, or that is something that you should not carry. That is not an attitude that you need to carry into the interview, right? Have perfect clarity, sir. ये करना है, ये करना है, ये करना है, ठीक है. So at times, with respect to your career goals, it doesn't make sense to have a lot of them, right? It actually makes a lot of sense to have perfect clarity in the interview. So if you do have that perfect clarity in the interview, if you have that clarity that this is it, this is what you want to do, this is what you want to be, achieve, aim, aspire for, so that is it. That's it. That's how you go about it. So please make sure your career goals are concise, don't include everything in the world, and you remain focused with respect to your career goals, right? Let's switch over to the next slide. Can you guys share some experiences in life where you've done something? What I'll do is I'll take an illustration. This is going to be, I think this is the eureka moment of this interview, this class, right? And I'll be like super honest. I'm going to give you something which is super exclusive, which is, and I'm really hyping this up as well, right? So it should be exclusive, because if it is not, तुम जूते मारोगे तुम मेरे को अगर ये exclusive नहीं हुआ. Right? This is not something that uh, you'll get in a lot of interview advice, YouTube videos which are like very generic in nature, which will talk about lead the interview, lead the interviewer, etc., blah blah blah. But they'll not give you anything tangible to hold on to. They'll not tell you how to do it actually, right? So I'll give you something to hold on to. I'll give you something in psychology which you can actually. Then this is derived from actual psychology, the subject, which you can hold on to, right? What makes it interesting? What makes it really interesting to talk about people when you have conversations with them, when you have deep conversations with them? those are not the facts of their life, right? Those are the qualities of their life. So how do you take charge of the interview? How do you control information flow in an interview? Is you talk about as many qualities as you have, right? So tell me the experiences that you guys have. I'll convert them into qualities. I'll give you practical examples, right? You might have achieved something in sports, you might have done something, you might have some experience. Share in the comment section and I'll convert them into a quality right here, right in front of you. I'll convert them, I'll talk about them as if they're a quality, right? So that's something that I'll do, and that's something that I'll try to showcase here. That's a skill that I like to showcase. So for example, I'll start with my own self, right? So I've written a lot. So I've worked as a professional writer and I've worked for a lot of organizations. I've done a lot of writing work. In fact, my primary calling in life has always been writing. So that's something that I love more than anything else. I just love to write. And so that is something that I have done, right? That's something that I've done. I've written a lot, right? I've written a lot of poems as well, right? I don't remember. I stopped writing poetry like 10 years back, but I wrote it for a period of 7 to 8 years. I wrote a lot of poems. I think I wrote around 300 odd poems during that period of time, right? So so I can easily say this, right? So instead of saying that I am a good writer, right, or just saying that I've written 300 poems, I could say that, sir, I have a way with words and I have always believed that articulation is a skill that one needs to carry. And so that is a skill that I possess. Now the next question is, sir, how do you prove that you possess the art of articulation? Sir, I can prove this with the fact is that I've worked with a multiple range of clients across the spectrum where I've done writing assignments. On a personal level, I've written around 300 poems as well. And these are all things that I've done. I love the language, I love to read, and my articulation is derived from these activities that I've done, right? So that's how I convert my skill, right? My skill was of writing, that I can write well, right? That's the skill that I have. And that is actually writing is my primary skill in life, right? More than teaching as well. So if that is my primary skill in life, right, I can put it across in this way where I extend it, I convert it into writing is nothing else but it is the art of articulation in words. It's the articulation of thoughts in words, right? So that's the quality that it is. So now writing is not an activity, it is not a verb form for me, it is a quality. It is, I've converted it into an adjective, almost the adjective of my life. So from a verb of my life, I've converted into an adjective of my life. So I've converted it from an activity to a quality. So that is something that I've done. So that is something that you guys can also do as well, right? So someone who's done crochet, Akshay has done crochet. So I've been a creative person who's looked to do more. So I have always involved myself in creative pursuits which have fulfilled me at a personal level. So creative pursuits at a personal level, Akshay, that is what you've done. Okay, what are these creative pursuits that you've done at a personal level? That's the next follow-up question that is going to follow, that is going to be asked of you. Sir, I learned crochet during COVID and I created sweaters for my parents. These were immensely helpful uh, these were, yeah, Pragati, you've completely taken me off hand here. When I say I was broken with a hand, I was talking about my metaphorical hand. My actual hand is still pretty solid. Just that I can't write. I can write, but I can't write. That's like kind of a deeply ironical statement, right? That I write pretty well, but I just can't write. So Manan watches a lot of films. Can we do something about it? Avish, great. You started teaching. So I am a socially responsible citizen who believes in doing his bit for society. So Avish, what I state is I am a socially responsible citizen. So the quality is you are a socially responsible citizen. Now the next question to you is how are you a socially responsible citizen? Sir, I am a socially responsible citizen. I'll take a sir. I'd like to share a small personal example with you with your due permission. I taught my mate's son during COVID time for free. So that is something, and you should not mention for free there. You should just say for free makes it a little cheap. So you just say I taught him during COVID and I realized I can teach, and that's when I extended this forward and uh, I went ahead and I taught this forward. I developed this into an activity where I volunteered for a wider set of people, right? So that's something that you guys can do. So you learn, so that's how you convert into qualities, right? Cooking is another thing that you like to do. Saurav is saying cooking. How can someone, now I'll put you guys this question, how can you convert cooking into a quality? Or for example, if you like playing the flute, or you've learned the violin, or if you've learned how to sketch and draw. So Ishwarya and Anshul, you've got common qualities here. Flute, violin, pencil sketch and drawing, those are common qualities, right? So I can clearly, for Aishwarya and Anshul, I can say that I am a person who believes in creative pursuits in life. Creative pursuits are deeply fulfilling to me, and these are something that give me a lot of peace, and they make me immensely happy. Now he's going to ask you is, how do these creative pursuits make you happy? Sir, I've learned the violin, I've learned how to sketch. These are all small little activities that I do. These are things that make me happy and define me as a person. Absolutely, Akshay, you can do that. You can be as creative as you want to be about it. You can be as humble and as simple about it as you want to be. You can be as creative as you want to be about it. The canvas is super wide, right? As long as you are using it as qualities, right? As long as you are using these as facts, right? I learn to cook. I like to cook. That really doesn't take you anywhere. So you can now convert. Can you convert cooking into something more? Sir, as a favorite pastime of mine, I like to cook for the ones I love, and I love to feed them. That's something that gives me deep satisfaction, right? So that's something that you do. Subhra Jyoti, I am a curious person who's willing always. I am a curious person. I would not like to say that I'm a polymath, but it is something that defines me. I like to pick up different things at different points of time. All these pursuits, they give me a sense of satisfaction, make me curious about life, make me live and love life the way it is, and make me enjoy life the way it should be. So that's how you state it, Subrajyoti. You take it to the enjoyment aspect. You don't say you're a jack of all trades, but that's a very cliched way of saying it. You rather say I'm a polymath. I'm a polymath in the making. I like to learn different skills. I like to do different things. I'm curious about different things, mechanisms, etc., etc. All of these make me happy. They give me a sense of pleasure. I derive, because the activities that you are essentially talking about, guitar, flute, piano, cooking, playing chess, gardening, etc., these are activities that give you peace. They give you happiness. That is what they give you, and that is what you should talk about. Absolutely, it is great, Sankit. Self-sufficiency makes you self-sufficient. It can be either ways. Either it makes you self-sufficient, or it makes you happy that you are putting food on the table for others, you're serving others, sense of satisfaction as well. So that is, Avish, it is absolutely, there is no issue at all. If he says that, right? Uh, why don't, that's actually a very good counter that, sir, I don't look at it. Sir, I'll be very honest about it. It is something that fulfills me, but it fulfills me on, if I look at, it fulfills me on my personal side. So, fulfills my personal aspirations which I have, which is to cater and help society, right? But sir, with the skills I have, I believe I'm better suited to working in a professional and corporate environment. I also understand my responsibilities. I also understand my skills and how I can best use them to generate the maximum possible benefits, sir. So my taking up an MBA, upskilling myself, that will only make me into a better person and into a better teacher, sir, for these people. That's something that I can do. I can take these skills forward. So you flip it and convert it into a positive. That's it. As simple as that. Everything that is, so from today onwards, you are like these super positive people. Everything that is thrown at you, it does not stick to you. It's like a piece of clay. It is like a piece of dough which is thrown at you. You take it, you pick it, you convert it into something positive, and you give it back, hand it out in a very humble manner to the panelist. Sir, you threw this at me, I converted this into this beautiful piece of artifact for you. This was a piece of dough, this was a piece of clay that you gave me. I worked with it, converted this answer, and this is what I'm giving to you. So you do that, 99.99% of the interviews you will clear, unless and until you meet with a super sadistic interviewer who's not going to be happy about it, and who's going to look through it, and who's going to see that this is like complete bullshit. So then it is a problem, but other than that, you should be good to go. This super positive way of looking at it is good. Absolutely, Kabaddi is a terrific thing to mention, Pargat. Kabaddi is a super competitive sport. It teaches you immensely the value of physical fitness, and being super competitive makes you into this individual who is acutely aware of his surroundings and who is uh, in a hyper competitive environment, who likes to compete. That is what Kabaddi teaches you, right? It's a super competitive sport. It requires intense amount of energy, intense amount of application. So those are all skills that you learn out of it. Those are all qualities that you learn out of it. Absolutely, Shubheksha. Those are all things that you can talk about. Again, the qualities aspect. So all of a sudden we've converted simple things into qualities. All of a sudden we've converted things which you might have just seen so far as just simple, plain, simple things, things that you do, things that you are aware of, things that you might have been, crochet might just have been crochet to someone, cooking might just have been cooking to someone, but now these stand for qualities and these stand for things that define you as a person. So that is what we want to do. That is what we want to showcase. That is what we want to show to the world, right? And that is what we are going to put across in an interview. Our positive, engaging, pleasing personalities are going to put across, right? So I think this is a valuable thing that you learn, that you take away from this session. Probably if I look at the relative barometer of this session and I look at the relative impact of the different slides that we've covered, this is probably one thing this is one super important thing. Aditya, I've been in a relationship for 4 years. अभी क्या बोलूं यार, मेरी शादी को 4 साल हो गए. देखो यार, शादी, रिलेशनशिप, सब मोह माया है. दूर रहो जब तक रह सकते हो. ये वाला एक मुद्दा है. इस दुखती रग पे हाथ मत रखो, बाकी सब चलता है. और इंटरव्यू में इतना भी पर्सनल नहीं होना ना. So now the next thing, and this is where I think we are going to uh, this is the note where we are going to end this session as well on. And we've had a long, lengthy discussion. We've had, I think there's been lots and lots of food for thought for you guys, and lots of things as we've covered. Uh, One thing is, it's almost like, how many of you have seen Barney or Sheldon, or you've seen things, you've seen How I Met Your Mother or Big Bang Theory? Most of you would have, because by virtue of simple logical extension of the fact that you are attending this session online and you have the privilege and access to attending this session, I assume you would have seen How I Met Your Mother, or uh, Big Bang Theory. You would have seen these things. You would have seen these shows. Agreed? Most of you would have. Right, so can I put out a common element to these two personalities? Why am I taking these two people is that in a way they are a reflection of an extreme amount of self-confidence and believing in what they are, almost not caring about the world, right? So that's one thing that you, every day that you wake up now from going forward, you've got to believe in yourself, who you are, what you do, what you stand for. Start carrying that conviction, right? Start start to showcase that this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what I believe in. Because once you begin to do that, that's when you begin to grow, that's when you begin to prosper, uh, that's when you begin to present a version of yourself which is like super positive, super happy. You go in with a smile on your face in the interview room and you go and conquer it. So that's something that you do. So build a magnificent image of yourselves, right? This is almost like uh, I know I a few minutes back I'll be contradicting myself where I spoke of the fact that I do not wish to be a motivational speaker, but this is almost like the this is textbook motivational speaking, right? Or this is textbook motivational content, self-help guru slash self-help content. Uh, please make sure you create that image of yourselves in your mind where you really, really deeply value your own selves. Because unless and until you do that, you don't want to come across as weak. So you want to come across as someone who's happy, someone who believes himself or herself, someone who stands for what he is or what she is. So that is something that we do, and that is something that we guys take forward, right? So that, guys, brings us to an end to this session. It was, I I hope this session was useful. I hope this session was illustrative. I hope this session was, if not anything else, you had a good time speaking with the fat bald man and you enjoyed yourself. You enjoyed the last couple of hours of your life. If not anything else, that's the bare minimum we can expect out of this. And I hope you had a good time, you had a good conversation, and you enjoyed yourself. You enjoyed the fact being here. Great, guys. So, signing off for now. Over and out. Good night for now. Do check out the iQUANTA course. The details are in the comments. Great to have all of you here today. Great to see your energy. Great to see your interaction. Great to see your answers. The fat bald man is signing off. So I hope you had a great time. Chalo guys, signing off for now. Good night. Happy to be of help. Good night, everyone. Sure, Pargat will do that. Most welcome. Drop by to my office anytime you wish. We can catch up. Great. Good